Hi, and welcome to this week's video blog. I'm Sarah Hammerkert, and I'm glad you joined me. Today I want to talk about how to help our kids use words and not physical gestures during conflict resolution. When kids, especially younger ones, are upset, the tendency is to push, hit, strike, kick, shove, spit, and punch, shove. I mean, all those kind of things is to get that physical with them. And sometimes that lingers beyond toddlerhood. And so what we want to do is we want to help them um, realize that they need to use words and not their fists. Now later on in my tools for argument, which is next week, and the rules for confrontation the week after, we're going to talk about how to help them shape those words so that the words themselves are not hurtful. But today's video, I want to talk about how to help kids just transition from actually using their words instead of using their fist and or their body in some way to retaliate against their frustration. When it's with a sibling, the tendency to pinch and to hit and to get physical is there. To me, it's even greater. So how do we help our kids use their words and not their fists? We remind them. We remind them after the incident, and we remind them we can see them getting tense and starting to get that physical alteration. Remind them that that's not acceptable in our house. We also want to remind them why, because we need to respect the other person. That part of respecting the other person, even when they make you mad, is not to physically harm them. This is important for girls, this is important for boys. It's important for all of us to remember that physical responses, even when we're angry, even when we feel like we're justified and angry, is not to use our bodies to physically strike out, lash out at the other person, because we have to respect them. And we remind them that when we use our words, we're using them because we want to listen to the other person, right? So we remind them or respect them, and then we teach our kids to listen. Listen to what the other person is saying. Listen with your ears and not with your body. We also want to encourage them to ask. So many times conflict erupts because our kids didn't ask to take something, to borrow something. So let's ask these questions. Let's help them to ask, can I do this? Can I have this? Can I, or why were you upset? Did I do something? Those kind of questions. We also want to encourage our kids that even when they make a mistake, they can do better. So encourage them that even when they do hit their brother, that they'll do better next time. Encourage them that we see them making progress in using their words and not their fists. We also need to equip them. So again, helping them with that replacement for using their physical bodies. I had one of my children when he was in first grade, I got a call from the assistant principal to tell me that this child had spit on another child during lunch. And when I asked the child why this had happened, the reply was, oh, well, I knew I wasn't supposed to hit, but I was so angry, I spit. And I'm like, well, you're not supposed to spit either. But it was kind of encouraging to hear that, okay, he remembered what he wasn't supposed to do, and he didn't do that. He did something else that still got him in trouble. But it was interesting to see that, hey, he'd actually thought, no, I'm right. I'm angry. I'm not supposed to hit. So he just spit because he didn't have the words, but he was angry. So we can encourage him. I encouraged him. I said, I am so glad you didn't hit that kid. I am. But remember, we're not supposed to spit at him either. And so we practiced some scenarios as to what they could do, what he could have done instead of. He could have stood up and moved away. They would have told him to sit back down, but he could have had that. He could have turned his back to the kid, and there's other things. So we went through a couple of scenarios to help equip them. And then the next day I asked him, revisited those things. How did those things work? Did it do better? Were you able to not get angry when this incident a similar incident happened? And we also need to remind them that they need to cool down before they can really do conflict resolution. In the heat of the battle, tempers flare, words fly, and feelings spin over into one huge hot mess. Many times the initial steps towards successful conflict resolution is to calm down. And I think this is the last point I'm going to make in this video, is the importance of helping our kids to know how to calm down. And reminding them that just because somebody's yelling at them doesn't mean they have to stay and listen. That they are perfectly capable of turning around and walking away. That they can close their eyes and take deep breaths to calm down. That cooling down before resolving the conflict is key, because nobody can listen when your tempers are all hot and everyone's all agitated. So that sometimes the importance of cooling down. So help our kids use words and not fists, and helping them cool down are essential components for conflict resolution. I hope you join me next time when I'm going to talk about the tools for argument.